the Haslams are receiving a lot of political pushback when it comes to this stadium situation. And I'm interested in seeing you guys' opinion on this because I haven't heard much about it. We haven't done too much debating. We've done it a little bit on my talk show on a barbershop, and the callers have been really mixed bag of people with their opinions on whether the Cleveland Browns should stay downtown and renovate there, whether there should be a dome structure, whether they should go to Brook Park and put a dome. There's been some pushback by Hopkins Airport because they think that the stadium is going to be, clog up traffic when people are trying to get to and for the airport. There's a lot of different things that are going on right now in terms of the negotiations and how people are trying to, jockey for their political. I guess it's the political football right now, with the lack of better term. But this is an article that was in Cleveland Scene magazine. And I'm going to read you a little bit of it. And it kind of talks to and explains the side of the politicians, because there is a group of politicians that are really trying to hold this thing back. And I think we can kind of look at this article and tell whether or not what lines and what lines in the sand people are trying to draw in terms of this stadium. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's pull this up. This is in Cleveland Scene magazine. It says, at recent panel, sports stadium financing experts warn against massive public subsidies for the Cleveland Browns. A quote says, and this is by Mark Opria, and this was just yesterday, the 26th. And the subtext reads, there is zero evidence in 30 years of peer-reviewed academic research that a professional sports team in a city generates any substantial jobs, raises wages, or raises income or raises property taxes by giving subsidies to these stadiums, right? And so this is, the people that's on this picture are pictured are Ward 16 Councilman Brian Casey. And Casey was the guy you guys remember back a couple months ago. He was the person who spoke about invoking the Art Modell rule, which is the rule that prohibits the Cleveland Browns from moving anywhere outside of the city of Cleveland. So technically Brook Park, most people would not consider that moving a team, but the language in it is vague enough where he's saying that, hey, look, the Browns, when they came back, one of the conditions of the Browns coming back was that they were not supposed to move that team anywhere but the city of Cleveland. So in this picture is Ward 16 Councilman Brian Casey, and they fixed together a panel of stadium political experts and financial experts, Ken Silliman, Victor Matherson, and Brad Humphreys. So they had this panel of these individuals, academics, professionals, think tank individuals, who basically are coming up saying, hey, look, you guys think that moving the stadium is going to be all peaches and cream? We have data that's showing that just because you move the stadium out to Brook Park, or you rule the stadium outside the city limits and you put a dome on it, does not mean that they're going to come with all types of different, financial benefits from that. In fact, the article goes on to talk about, as we look at the second part, the article goes back and it talks about some of these studies. It says, Katie seemed to, Becky Casey, who was the face of the council's emphasis of the 1996 Art Modell law that attempts to protect cities from billionaires seeking to pick up their team and leave, to gather three experts on the stadium deals to espouse the starry-eyed Clevelanders' wish for a shiny new dome mega place like Nissan Stadium in Nashville or Jerry World in Dallas, or Los Angeles' behemoth that is AT&T Stadium. And a lot of times people have been saying, there was a big kind of to do with the situation because people were saying, hey, the Browns, Cleveland didn't get a lot of the things that we wanted to get. The Taylor Swift concert was a big thing going around the country. Obviously, the Browns or the city of Cleveland, she didn't do a tour stop here. A lot of people were saying that was because of the facilities and because it's not inside. Also, people say, the Final Four, the women's Final Four, different things like that you could hold at dome stadiums, and the Browns don't have one. So that's why one of the reasons why there's a major push in order to do it. And they talk about how it was hastily built to begin with, back in 1999 when the Browns returned. But this panel is saying to the contrary. Sensing some in the crowds yearn for a Taylor Swift level echelon of concerts, or say another Rolling Stone stopover, Matherson was quick to shut down the perception of huge change with some hard data. From 2002 to 2022, he and Humphreys found the Cleveland Browns Stadium hosted 12 concerts. Detroit's Dome hosted 38. Indianapolis Lucas Oil Stadium hosted 31. And they also do, Lucas Oil does the NFL draft as well. And 2 Super Bowls in 2006 and 2012. He says the bottom line for the 2 visiting professors who speak regularly against city-subsidized stadium deals was evident. The billions of dollars that go into inviting a Swiftie World Tour does not produce a sound return in investment. They quoted a Chicago economist in saying this and getting the sentiment across. It would be better to drop money from a helicopter than invest in a new ballpark. They also go on to say some other stuff, right? And it says, so if you said, well, look, there's much more that we could do indoors with the indoor stadium, Matherson said, well, yeah, one more concert here or there. You might get a men's basketball Final Four in a Super Bowl, but you only get one. For Stillman, the former chair of Gateway Economic Development Company, who recently published a 600-page memoir / stadium expose on Cleveland's own chaotic history of sports stadiums, the more sensible route was to convince the Haslams, the city, and in the city to reframe the Cleveland Browns Stadium in the historical vein of a Fenway Park or a Wrigley Field in Chicago, which meant, he said, doubling the dollar stream Cuyahoga County residents have been using for the upkeep since 1990. The tax on booze and cigarettes, the tax on concerts and shows, the tax on parking and rentals. Right. So I won't bore you with some of this. You guys can go check that out in Cleveland Scene Magazine. And the last but not least, I'll read this. Most Clevelanders have more practical priorities than Haslam's Brook Park renderings. Only 5% of members of the Cuyahoga County Progressive Caucus thought the public would want to or should pay for a new stadium in the first place. If you ask the average season ticket holder or buyer to Cleveland Browns Stadium, Sullivan say, cracking his smile, they would just give you, they would say, give us a team that is consistently competing for the playoffs, right? So, I'm going to take a little bit of time on this. I think there's a couple of things in this article that they are correct about. And I do think they're missing a point about stadiums and in general as well. So I'll start with some of the things I thought they did get correct. When you look at the stadium and you look at the amount of money it's going to take as a split between the fans, the media, the citizens, the business owners, everybody, right? If you're in the city of Cleveland, you're going to be paying some of this tax, whatever it is, out of your pocket to get a Cleveland Browns stadium. He is correct. When you talk about the return on investment, sometimes people can overestimate. I mean, how many other events are you going to get? How many, yes, you can get to Super Bowl, but most teams, especially in cold weather cities, if you do get it, you get it once. New York had it once, right? If you do get a Final Four, it's not like it's going to be there every single year. There's still warmer cities and warmer places that you can do those things. And a lot of people would rather have those be in warmer cities so that they can do things when the Super Bowl does come. With that being said, there is also, something to be said about some of the money leaving the inner city, leaving downtown, and those businesses that are down there suffering a little bit for that. And, the economists and the politicians, they are saying that, look, if you take in consideration of how much it's going to cost you, and you take in consideration how much you're going to get use out of it, it's not going to be that dramatic of an increase because you got a concert here or there. It's not going to raise your property values, not going to be raising all of these different things that when you put a rendered drawing out there, that it's going to magically just change your whole economic situation around for people living in the inner city of Cleveland. So to me, being a guy that worked as a financial advisor for some time, there is some things that people do believe that there's when you estimate a boost, when you estimate something is going to infuse dollars into your community, there's a lot of times those projections can be a little bit overstated, and you really don't see the return on investment, so to speak, when it comes to these type projects. But the problem they got with this is, and that was what they got right, what they got wrong was that most people don't look at this situation as a return on investment. Most people, when they do things recreationally, or when they go watch games, or they go entertain themselves, or any entertainment like professional sports, what you don't realize is they're not trying to get a monetary, kickback from that. Most fans that are regular 9 to 5 type guys that are going to be in the middle class, that are going to stay in the middle class. Generally speaking, most people are born in a certain class structure and usually die in a certain class structure. So for the guys that are hard workers, 9 to 5 guys in Cleveland, you're not going to be fluctuating upwards and downwards when it comes to your income. So one of the things that we look at that all the time with the people in the middle class is you're going to spend money on something, right? If I'm going to be a person and I'm a hardworking dude and I bust my tail every single day, I understand what this game is out here. I'm just trying to put food on the table. Yeah, I could do all of that and say, I don't want to go. I'm going to go without this. I'm going to go without that. I'm strict. I'm going to tighten my belt on this. But there's always 1 or 2 things that people are willing to spend money on. I call it selective morality. Some people say, I don't understand how you can spend all those money on cigarettes. If you're a smoker, you spend, I don't know how much cigarettes cost. It's like, what, $11 a pack? So that's $11 a day you smoke it, right? Think about what that is in the long run, right? That's almost $300 some right there in a month. Some people look at it and say, well, listen, you smoke. How could you do that? But some people drink a 6-pack after work every day. It's just what they do. They like, listen, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to sit in my recliner, drink this 6-pack, and I'm done. Some people love to go out to eat. They cheap as hell when it comes to everything else, but they'll drop a $200, $300 on appetizers, wine, drinks, all that. Love sitting down at good steakhouses and restaurants, right? Some people got this thing where they got to buy a car every 2 years. They know it ain't paid off. They just roll over that bill. I'm getting me a new car every 2 years. That's what I like. Some people got to get the newest iPhone every single time it comes out. It's just what it's going to be. Some people like me got a shoe fetish. I love Jordans. They come out, they ain't cheap. I wear 14, 15. So them shoes is $200, $300. And if they rare, $400. So what I'm saying here is everybody has something that they enjoy. And when you're a regular, everyday working cat, you need something to put your money into that passes the time by. And that's what you're not understanding about the passion of football fans and as passionate as the Browns fan base is. They're not looking for a return on investment. They're looking for the investment in something that can create memories. You see, people don't go down to the muni lot because they're going to get something back from it. They go down to the muni lot so they can be around like-minded people to celebrate the Browns and enjoy themselves over the weekend. They don't care how much it costs to get in, $60, $70. They don't care about that. They care about the experience. They care about being down there with their buddies, drinking. Some of the things, people go to the Browns games, and even when the Browns is garbage, you know what happens? People still show up because it becomes less about the Browns winning and more about the camaraderie that guys are getting down at the muni lot, down at the stadium. So when I'm saying, do you want to sign up? Do you want to be taxed extra? Are you going to pass this levy? Do you want to get the Browns a new stadium? I'm not thinking about what I'm going to get in return. I'm looking at an investment in the future. I'm looking at an investment in my recreation. Hey, listen, I can't change my life pretty much. I mean, you can, unless you hit the lottery. But look, man, if I'm going to work my tail off, I'm going to spend my money and enjoy what I love to enjoy. And people in Cleveland love the Browns. People in Cleveland like nice stadiums because guess what? They can watch the Browns in nice stadiums. We look at other places and we say, why can't we always have that? We look at all these stadiums and different things that they got. And when they gave us the Browns in 99, guess what? They rushed it. They didn't give us a dome. Nothing it don't look like nothing. The stadium is blah. You can't even really tell me what it like. What was the design features? So we was already feeling a certain type way when we got it. And here's another thing that politicians got to understand, and they think we dumb. Politicians always are telling you what they don't have money for. They're great at it. They're always telling you what we can't afford, but they still be giving tax breaks to all the rich people. And just sign it over. You've always telling me what you can't afford. Let you start talking about student loans. Let you start talking about childcare. Let you start talking about vouchers for good schools. Let you start talking about pay wages or increases in minimum wage. You talk about any of that. We ain't got it. 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 Well, what do you got it for? It just seems like we don't got it for nothing. So if I can't get, let me just tell you how I feel. If I'm not going to get no student loan for forgiveness, no problem. I'll pay my loans. If I'm not going to get no universal health care, fine, no problem. I get it. People got to pay for stuff. If I'm not going to get no maternity leave and paid PTO and paid days off, okay. I'm going to sure as heck be able to enjoy my football on a Sunday. And I want to enjoy my football on a Sunday under a roof. And I want to do it in a nice stadium. And hopefully I do it in the AFC Championship game. And hopefully we can do it in order to get to the Super Bowl. Because to be truthful, when you lay on your death's door, right? When you lay on your steps, right? When you're in bed, right? And you got a couple hours to go. You think about all of the great times you had with your family. You think about the great times that you enjoyed watching the game with your dad. You remember the first time you took your kids to a Browns game. You remember all the times you was in a Muni lot. You just remember how much fun you had with this common theme with people that you came to know and love over a lifetime, and you're thankful for it. No one sits on their deathbed and talks about, man, we really didn't get a return on investment out of that stadium. We really didn't get our money's worth. Because at the end of the day, that money is not trickling down to the middle class regardless. That money won't never it never gets to the bottom of the food chain. So while we sit here and squabble and continue to make rich people more rich, at the end of the day, is it something that I wish wouldn't happen, where billionaires continue to get new stadiums and the city had to pitch in and the tax base and the tax people had to put in on that? But it's reality. It just is what it is. It's part of the game. Genie's out of the bottle. I can complain about it, or I can go down to the Muni lot and enjoy the game in a nice new brand new stadium with my kids or my father or my family. I'd rather do that. So the politicians, they're going to fight tooth and nail. But the one thing that they don't understand is fans think with their emotions and their heart, not with their wallets. Because if they did think with their wallets and their minds, the Browns wouldn't be as popular as they are, because they don't be winning anyway. But I'm just giving y'all something to think about. Food for thought. You do the dishes.